I love these meetings. We get a chance to lay out our plan for the entire year for you and take a look back at 2018. And we have a special guest speaker to start us off today. Please give a warm welcome to your president, Mr. Matthew Hansberger.
I clearly need to be spending more time at the office. All right, I agree with Mark. This is one of my favorite meetings every year. This and the bake sale are two that battle it out for me every year in terms of what I like to do on a Tuesday morning, I have to say. So I have a presentation queued up for you again, like I do kind of every year. One of the things I wanted to start with was a promise that mine involves 0 tears this year. So I remember last year getting a little bit of heat that I had played a video about some girls on a softball team. And one girl hurt her leg and the other one carried her around. Remember that perhaps? And you know, people weeping, and there was a fair bit of mascara. So none of that this year. But I'm going to need you to bear with me because I do have a video that's kind of long. So I understand how the world works now. Attention, you know, distraction, that kind of thing. This is a 12-minute video edit. I know, yeah, that's right, exactly. It is a sitcom now. Anyway, I think it is a great video that gives some context to some of the things that we've been working on in the past year and that has caused some of the changes that you've seen in the business and some of the stuff that I think will be good for you to keep focused on personally going into 2019, which I'm super excited about. So for those of you who don't know me, I can't believe I have to say that in front of this group as well. I've been at RLPA now since 2004. Started as a salesperson, moved into being an assistant broker, assistant manager in 2008. In 2010, the broker at RLPA retired, and I was moved into that role. That was a terrifying moment for me, actually. So I was the broker in Halifax, which basically the broker in Nova Scotia. And then about 3 years ago or so, I started to move into this role, which is to basically help run the organization with the help of an amazing management team here. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of our managers, and then some of them are going to talk to you about some of the people that work for them, and you're going to get some context around that. And all of those cryptic organizational announcement emails that I've been sending out over the last little while. The last one, actually, I got a reply back to say, are these ever going to stop? And my answer to that person was, listen, somebody accused me of under-communicating, and now you're all Anyway, let's get started. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I talked about this last year, and I'll just do a 10-second recap of last year in a moment here as well. I spend a lot of time now focusing with all of our folks on our staff and our management team, talking with them about what's the reason that we get out of bed every morning. Why are we here? Why does it matter that we're building the brokerage that we're building? And we have a very clear purpose in mind when we get up every day. And I try and make sure that I remind people of this who are helping support you every day. So our first is to attract talented people. When I look around this room, I am just constantly amazed with the people that we've attracted to come work with us. So thank you for that. I think our next job is to help develop you to become productive and sustain yourself in the business that you've chosen to be in. You're entrepreneurs. You're all running your own small businesses. And it's our responsibility to help sure that we give you whatever tools we can possibly give you to help you become productive in that business. So that's really the first thing that we focus on. And then there was a lot of debate about the first word in this last part of our program. And I was unwilling to yield on that. It's our job to obsess about helping you grow your career. I love you people for the fact that you put your hand up and said, I want to go out and do this on my own. I want to take some risks, and I want to build something here. And so if we are not daily getting up and saying, it's our job to help these people and really, really, really care about them as much as they care about their business, we're in the wrong thing. So that's what our job is to obsess about helping you grow your career. So last year I talked about three things. I talked about our core values as an organization. I'm going to just update that a little bit this year as well. We talked about massive goals, and I started to tell you about where we're going in our 10-year picture, which hasn't changed. And you'll see some of the things that we've done this year that are going to help us along that path. And then I talked about daily habits. And you might remember a couple of things that I said I was going to try and do every day. I mentioned that people who make their beds are better at budgeting. And everyone kind of looked at me, kind of like they're looking at me. So I told myself I'm going to try and make my bed every day. I'm lucky to have a corroborating person here. My wife is in our business, so I didn't get every day, but I was pretty close. We did pretty good at keeping our bed made this year. Do you agree with that?
You better than that.
Oh, God, we didn't practice that, so. I don't think that I budgeted any better, but I will say it was my best for me to made me feel better when I left the house and when I got home. Talked about some of the other things that I was trying to do. One of the things that I said I wanted to do was read 60 books. I counted it up this morning to see where I got to. I came a little short. I was at about 52. So reading and listening, some of you know that I spent a fair bit of time on the road back and forth to New Brunswick, so audiobooks saved me about halfway through the year when I was tracking at around 15 books and realizing I had so that was very helpful to me as well. But I'm trying to develop daily habits, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why that is. So we spent a little bit of time talking about our company values as well, and you'll remember that last year I presented three: achievement, win-win, and loyalty. And we talked about whether or not those were applicable or that was the entirety of it for the people that we have on our staff working with us. So I'm talking about the people who come in every day and they're doing your design work, they're doing your photography work, they're processing your transactions, they're inputting your listings, they're sitting at the front desk taking care of the office that you're working, that kind of thing. And I think we decided we needed to expand upon it. So we looked at the characteristics of the people who are excellent staff. People that we all say, yeah, you know what, I really like him, it's great to sit with him at lunch or her at lunch. And we started to talk about what we were attracted to in those people. And some of them continue to win in terms of the actual word staying within our core values. Some of them we just felt we needed to tweak the language around a little bit. So loyalty continued to exist. We have 54 people on staff as of today. Paid staff who come in every day and are here to support realtors, right? The realtors in this room, we consider you our customers. These are the things that I hire based upon and that I ask our team to hire based upon. Loyalty was one of them. We want you to be loyal to not only us in the business, but to you as well. I don't want to see our front desk person listing their home with that. Achievement-focused people. We live in a world where every day the folks who walk into our office are uniquely interested in achieving something. You're growing businesses. If you weren't achievement-focused, it would be hard for you to be in the real estate. Very good. So we demand that of the people who are supporting you as well. We debated this one a little bit. Everyone's grumpy sometimes. But we need positive people on our staff. Every day we work in and around our customers, which is a thing that I think, I'm not sure that everyone understands how unique that is. If you're working McDonald's, your customers don't sit there for 8 hours a day watching how you're performing your job. We get that. If I'm in the office, my customers are sitting around me evaluating how well I'm doing my job that day. Whether they're saying it or not, they are. And that's true of Mark and Tracy, and Katrina, and Helen, and Melanie, and Bassam, and all these people. They're evaluating that all the time, and that's a unique thing. But that requires us to have a pretty positive mindset. Because you all don't want to come in and hear us be grumpy about what we have going on in our lives. So something interesting to consider, and we talked about it a fair bit. Growth-minded. you can't work at RLPA Atlantic and not embrace growth, we've decided. So either that or it's just going to get shoved down this road, unfortunately, because we tend to be growing at any given time. And this is another one that we kind of replaced win-win with, which is help first. So rather than expect to be helped first, always be looking for an opportunity to help someone so that when you need it, you can get a little bit of recognition. And the last one was reliability. And I will admit that I struggle with it. Everyone has emailed me at one point in your life and not gotten a response back, or at least not gotten it back for 6 That's stuff that I want to change, right? And that's stuff that I aspire to. And we talked about whether or not that was an aspirational core value or whether that was an actual core value. But it's something that we work on, right? And even if we admit it to ourselves that we're not always perfect at it right now, we said it's something we value and get better. So these are the things that we have as our core value. Okay, so brace yourself. This is the video. In the last year, and I'm going to talk about some of our growth numbers, we have seen a lot of growth in terms of the number of people who are here, the number of transactions that are being put through our business, the number of services that we're trying to offer, the number of staff people that we have with us, the number of locations that we have. We've just seen growth. And so this video is a video about discomfort and how it leads to growth. And I want to just show it to you, and then we'll talk about it. Actually, probably I'll talk about it, and you'll probably listen. But I'm open to a dialogue as well. Okay, so bear with me.
So I was on a roll. I was an executive with a nice salary, annual bonuses and stock options, all the perks. Everything was on track. And on Monday, January 7th, 2008, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in a small conference room on the top floor of our building, the president of the company wanted to have a quick meeting with me, which wasn't unusual since he was my boss. But the meeting turned out to be even more brief than expected. He fired me. And I'll never forget how his words just sucked the breath right out of me. And I left the conference room in a dazed state, and I went home and curled up in my bed in the fetal position for 3 hours. And while I could go on into detail about how I felt, what I did to my self-esteem, my finances, and so on, what I now realize is while that event created the greatest amount of discomfort I had ever felt, it was that discomfort, the departure from my ordered life, that forever changed it for the better. You see, friends, what makes you comfortable can ruin you. And what makes you uncomfortable is the only way to grow. Let me say that again. What makes you comfortable can ruin you, and only in a state of discomfort can you continually grow. Now, I suppose on January 8th, somebody come up and said, "Gee, buddy, getting fired's a good thing, because now you're really going to grow." I probably would have smacked them. But pretty quickly I became motivated to start a new journey. And after a couple of years of work with my new team and a PhD friend at the University of Nebraska, we had this epiphany on how to illustrate and apply the science of discomfort and growth. We called the concept the growth rings. The growth rings represent living environments that promote or hinder growth. And that includes everything from your place of work to even a fishbowl. You see, what dictates the size of a goldfish is its environment. And while this goldfish lives in a very safe environment, it's also very limiting in most every way. And when placed in a more robust environment, like say a small pond, this can be the result. Now it also means he could be eaten. But friends, this is you. The environments in which you work, live, and play, they're all a proverbial fishbowl that dictates your growth. So the first growth ring represents a low-performing, low-growth environment called stagnation. Stagnation is understood by having to follow too many steps and permissions and minutiae, thus stifles creativity, independent thought, and action. To imagine an environment such as this, think no further than our state and federal governments. Now the antithesis of stagnation is chaos, also low growth and low performing. Chaos can be caused by internal or external events or conditions. We see chaos occur at times in business mergers, natural disasters, and horrific events like 9/11. Chaos is having zero predictability or control over inputs and outcomes. Coming back down the growth rings, next to stagnation is the most desirable environment, order. Order is knowing that what you do or what is happening in your environment leads to a predictable outcome. And in predictability, comfort is found. But comfort is also what makes order so dangerous. Because science shows that anytime you continually do something or even think about something the same way, you'll eventually stop growing. And this applies to every living thing, even our dog. You see, if Aspen had a chance, she'd choose comfort 6 days a week and twice on Sundays. But too much growth-limiting order would have prevented her from becoming a therapy dog. And had this been allowed, think of the lives this gentle soul would not be touching today. So before your order continues to limit the way you think and act, remember what I said earlier. Growth only occurs in a state of discomfort. Now think about the power of that phrase. Growth only occurs in a state of discomfort. I can unequivocally state I wouldn't be standing on this stage today without my uncomfortable, order-disrupting day 9 years ago. By the way, I'm not recommending you go get fired to see if we leads to a TED Talk, but when you feel discomfort hit, that means you've entered the complexity ring. Complexity is nothing more than changed order. But when your order is changed, outcomes are no longer predictable, and it's unpredictability that makes you uncomfortable. And well, most times, your visceral response to discomfort is not just no, but hell no. You can actually learn how empowering it is to consciously acknowledge discomfort, and then when appropriate, choose complexity over order. And I know seeking discomfort sounds odd, and not many people do it. But you have to learn to embrace it, because it's the only environment where sustained or exponential growth can occur. Okay, to weave high growth complexity into the fabric of your lives, there are 3 primary ways it can be triggered. Complexity trigger number 1 is it can be forced upon you. When I got fired, I didn't have a chance to stay in order. Complexity was selected for me. And when this happens, how much you grow depends on how you respond to it. Now, I could have remained angry. I could have used it as an excuse. But what I actually learned is that I suck as an employee. And I'm much better off accepting the risks of running my own company. Complexity trigger number 2. Someone can help you get there. This is the role of parents, teachers, coaches, and bosses, because left on their own, people will consciously or subconsciously select the comfort of order. And they then need to be pushed into complexity in order to continue growing. My youngest daughter spent most of her high school life training to play tennis. And her coach was pretty familiar with our work on complexity and the growth rings. So I called him up one day to check on Maddie's progress, and I was able to phrase my question like this. I said, "Hey Lee, how long has it been since Maddie's been pushed deep into complexity?" Lee's response, "Funny you'd ask, Bill. We got through yesterday." She broke down into tears on the tennis court. Well, knowing how tough my daughter is, and the fact that she never cries, told me she was deep into complexity. But friends, this is where critical developmental decisions are made. Because the old Bill, the pre-growth ring Bill, would have intervened and wanted to know what was making her so uncomfortable. Then I would have done everything I could to try and get her happy again. What I really would have been doing is removing the complexity and putting her in order. I actually would have been stifling her development. But the new post-growth ring Bill relished in his daughter's discomfort. And it was the coach's next words that told me everything I needed to hear. He said, "But Billy, gotta tell you, it took a heck of a lot more to get her to the limits of complexity this month than it did last month. Discomfort was causing her growth." Okay, but what if you're not lucky enough to live or work in a robust, high-growth environment? What if you're stuck in order, even worse, stagnation? Well, the great news is everyone can trigger complexity at any time. So complexity trigger number 3, trigger it yourself. Take a journey with me back to Montgomery, Alabama in the 1950s. Imagine, if you will, a young girl who's black, and she attends an all-black high school. And she takes the city bus to get there and home, which wasn't unusual in that era. And on March 2nd, 1955, she boards the bus to come home from school, and she sits near the back in the first row of seats where blacks were allowed to sit. And as the bus continues to fill with white people, there's eventually no more room in the front of the bus. And according to local law, she needed to move further back to create room for white people to sit. You see, Montgomery had an order in place that, when followed, led to a very predictable outcome: repression of people with little conflict. But 15-year-old Claudette Colvin had just spent the last month in high school studying Black history, and she was understandably fed up with the historic and existing atrocities. And so on this day, she decided she didn't like Montgomery's order. And by refusing to give up her seat, she sent a community, our laws, and our entire country into complexity. Yes, 9 months before Rosa Parks made her famous decision to stay put, it was a 15-year-old girl that was handcuffed, dragged from the bus, and taken to prison. It was Miss Colvin, not Rosa Parks, who first fought the law, and by the way, was also the star plaintiff to testify in the famous lawsuit that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, I use Claudette's actions not to heighten awareness of race issues, although that's not necessarily bad, but I use it as an example of every issue, of every situation in an ordered environment. It's a real and perfect example of complexity forcing people, our communities, and our courts into discomfort, and the downstream impact that can occur anytime someone elects to move from order. Dr. Serene Jones, in a recent book, summarizes this concept very eloquently. She said, "The constant facade of order hides the wilderness that is craving to seep out and teach us that life wasn't created to be what we think it is. Beyond words, we must experience the wilderness to be taught what cannot be otherwise known." So friends, it's not the discomfort of losing a job. It's not having a child break down on the tennis court, but it's order you should fear the most, because it is a threat. And order disrupting people like Jesus, Galileo, Claudette Colvin, Aspen's trainer, and maybe even a few of you have already proven. Now think about this. It's not the complexity triggering individuals or events you should fear the most, but it's your own willingness to accept or seek discomfort that will dictate the growth of not just you, but our entire world. Thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this.
Okay, so I want to touch on a couple of things that guy said. Bill actually said. So He's an interesting guy, just an interesting speaker. I found the presentations. I was just kind of drifting through YouTube a little while ago and listening to a couple TED Talks, which I like because they challenge the order in my mind, I guess is the best way to put that. But I like the summary where he talks about how order can be forced upon us, how we can invite it into our lives by having someone push it upon us a little bit, someone helps us with it, and then we can bring it ourselves. And so I want to talk a little bit about how we approach this as an organization. You all, over the last little while, have had growth forced upon you. And I would argue discomfort forced upon you. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. We put some pressure on people on our staff to be able to respond to the needs that you have, while still in an environment while we were requiring growth from them in our business. And our business grows by adding customers, just like your business. So I talked about you being our customers earlier. You all have clients who are customers. I know that from an agency standpoint, that doesn't be But this is our track record over the last decade or so in terms of the number of people that our staff is trying to support. In 2010, we had 250 agents. In 2012, we had 246 agents. I would refer to that as either order or stagnation, whichever you prefer. But we were in the bottom couple of rings there. In the end of 2012, we had a group of lovely folks from Bedford come join us, who were formerly Prudential folks. We had a little jump up. In 2014, we had another Royal LePage from Moncton join us. And we had a couple of growth spurts. And for those of you who were around when either the Prudential folks joined us, the Royal LePage Metro folks in Moncton, the Century 21 folks from Dartmouth joined us, you might remember slight periods of discomfort that you went through. Jennifer, Sarah, Kevin, maybe a little bit. Katie, you know it? Lynn, Ann? Yeah. A little bit of discomfort. But it was triggered by a specific event that everyone saw and said, okay, well, this is just going to kind of pass. They'll figure this out and get on. So then we went through another sort of period of what I would call order, where we kind of got things back together and figured it all out again. And then all of a sudden, over the last couple of years, we've seen tremendous growth come from some of the things that we've implemented. We have a new management operating system, is what I described as. We've had new people step into different roles. And that's had an effect on the growth of our business as well. And this year, we finished the year with 403 people after having 318 2 years ago. And I stood up and talked to you last year about where we want to go with this and how 90 or so people created a bunch of discomfort this year. We have about 4,600 more to go. That's going to create a significant amount of discomfort. And so we measure that and try to figure out, okay, well, how much discomfort are they all going through? And I looked at these couple of stats here. So this is a chart that just overlays the number of agents in the business in blue and the number of transactions we're doing. So what I would be very fearful of is if the blue line was going up and the red line was not. And we added a number of people this year, more new people to the business this year than experienced agents coming over to us. And so we saw a slightly higher degree of growth in number of agents than in number of transactions. In volume, however, there wasn't that same. So essentially, a similar amount of income being produced per agent, even though we grew by about 50. So while there was discomfort in how we were getting through it all, I'm constantly measuring to make sure that we're not just growing for the sake of adding more bodies, I heard it referred to as body count at the career meeting I was at last year. I thought that was a terrible term, but nonetheless, that's how they referred to it. But then we're also still doing things that are making people more productive and helping them be more productive. And this is the reason why. Some of the growth that we've had has pushed us to a level where I've now found myself asking the staff to do things that I just believe are impossible to do. So, this is none of our brokers. I tried to pick an image that clearly did not demonstrate any one of them. I was not singling any of our staff members out here in front of them. It looks a bit like Tracy. Listen, I'm going to say this. It came from a site that was like Asian cartoons. So I think it's supposed to be Asian actually, but I don't know if like it just didn't come through because it does look like this. Anyway, so as we were growing, and when we had 250 people in the entire organization, and about 100 or so in Halifax, and we had a couple of brokers kicking around who were there to answer your questions and help you with your daily deals and stuff like that. We were asking them to do that task. We were asking them to recruit new people into the business, which is essentially customer acquisition or prospecting for us. We were asking them to help coach agents to become better at what they were doing. We were asking them to train people who are new to the business so that they knew how to do things so that they didn't get in trouble. We asked them to do what I would call lead the office. So stand up at a sales meeting, be the person to run the winner's circle, whatever the case is. We were asking them to answer deal questions. We asked them to review every single transaction that went through the office that they happened to work at to make sure that all the paperwork was correct before they signed off on it. And then we also, just as a kicker, threw in, hey listen, you've got some administration staff that we need you to manage and really think about their careers and how they're going to grow. And so, with 100 people, that was a pretty big jump. There's now 250 to be kicking around. Right? We have a lot of customers now, which is what I think most people would describe as a good situation. But it creates discomfort if you don't scale that properly. And so we decided we need to scale this up. So what should we do? Should we just go hire 10 brokers and then decide who likes who? And what happens if one of those brokers we hire only a few people like, and then one of them really likes, one of them we hire, everyone really likes that, and now you're still faced with the same problem. The 210 of you are calling one person, and we have another person sitting around answering questions, or 9 other people sitting around answering questions for 30. So what we decided was, we don't need to split the office up by customers anymore, we need to split it up by roles. And this is what I was trying to explain in the video that I did. Thank you, Hillary, for helping me from that particular video actually, because I was trying to just get it out quickly to explain to you what it is that we're now asking the broker to do. So the broker no longer is responsible for going out and finding new people. They're no longer responsible for sitting with you and coaching you as to how to grow your business. They're no longer responsible for training you how to do a good deal. They're no longer responsible for reviewing files. And really, they're no longer responsible for managing our administration. What we want is to devote somebody to you to help you navigate through the twists and turns of the 3,500 or so transactions, 3,800 transactions you would have done here in Halifax. And so that's what our broker role is. And then we've added one thing. Make sure that you're happy with everything else that's going on. Make sure you're happy with everything else we're trying to do. But what about the rest of that stuff that I just crossed off the list? Well, that's where we decided to hire a bunch of other people. And I don't think any of our people look like these people. Anyway, anyways, you can debate that out there. So I want to talk to you about sort of how we divide things up. This is Meteor Alchemy, obviously. It's a great part of the presentation. I just wanted to put this up there so that you understood what our roles are in the business. Ralph's role is the visionary of the business, meaning that he has very high-level concepts to think about. My role, internally, is referred to as the integrator. My job is to make sure that all of the different departments in our business are playing well with each other and interacting back and forth properly with each other. And it's my decision as to how we organize all of those departments. So I'm the one who has caused this discomfort for you. I've forced it upon you. In that, you now have to figure out who do I go to for what again. And these are the people that we've put in charge of each of those departments. So we divide it up into 5. And then within those departments, there's some other stuff going on as well, which is just as important to our business. So Sarah Taylor, who not many people in this room might know, but was our broker in the Valley, has become the person in charge of recruiting for the entire organization. Tracy, who I think most of you will know from previous avatars on this presentation, is in charge of the entire development team. So development to us includes recruiting, includes training, includes coaching, and includes mentorship. Ian is the person in charge of finance and deal support. This will be Erin's job at some point, we believe. We'd like that to be the case. Her and I have talked about that a few times. She's worried about her accounting background. I'm not worried about that. Mark is in charge of all the brokers now. So all those things I just listed in terms of broker services that we're going to continue to do, Mark's job is to make sure that the brokers in all the offices are doing that while he's still broker here. And Katie is in charge of basically the way that our operations teams all work with each other. And you're going to hear from that group of people that that's even more complex than just this. Because we now do a bunch of different services. And Bassam has delivered a whole suite of services onto your customers. He and his team are interacting with your customers now, which is something that we never did as a broker. And then Melanie is in the middle of developing a bunch of services that we do on your behalf inside of the business. So, you know, these are the reports that go out to your clients, or the Christmas cards that we're signing for you. I can do that. And a whole host of other things that she's in the middle of developing. And it's Katie's job to tie all those together, including the administration at the front desk, or what we would call an office coordinator, tie-in, IT, that Sharif is helping with, that Kevin is helping with, and all these other things. And it's her job to kind of tie together all the operations of the business. But we have the goal of expanding all of those services as well, which will, again, you understand the theme here, create a little bit of fun. So the second way in which we've created some discomfort for you, we've allowed you to opt into. And I would describe this as our coaching program. The services that we provide, those of you who've chosen to use those, did create discomfort for a while. I'm sure the first time you had someone from our staff send a postcard on your behalf or go out and shoot a video on a property without you there, there was a level of discomfort that you had with, hey, listen, how's this going to go? Right? And that's why we are very insistent upon having the right people in place to take care of those things. But I would describe our coaching program this way. This is a great book. If you have not read this book and you're an entrepreneur, I would give this one a read. Building a Story Brand. It's interesting from a marketing perspective, but just also from, it's going to ruin every movie you see from here on out. So that might not really be a good sell on it, but it will. Essentially, what this book says is, brands need to build stories, and in fact, there is only one story that ever exists. It's described as the archetypal story, and every movie you can think of that you kind of go through real quickly in your head has this story. The story has a hero. The hero's faced with challenges that they have to overcome, that will either result in their failure or their success. Somewhere along the way, they find a trusted guide to help them with the problems that they're dealing with. And once they and that trusted guide discover how they're going to approach this, they typically overcome the challenges and find success. The exceptions to these are usually the middle part of a trilogy like Empire Strikes Back or the second Lord of the Rings or whatever the middle Indiana Jones was, where you're left hanging and I would argue somewhat unsatisfied because the trusted guide has been found, the hero has made their way along, and they don't quite get there in terms of winning. But pretty much every other movie, you're going to find that this is the story. Assuming at least they're satisfied with it. And I'll just describe kind of what I believe summarizes this book. A character who wants something encounters a problem before they can get it. At the peak of their despair, a guide steps into their lives to give them a plan and calls them to action. That action helps them avoid failure and ends in success. A very important part of this book is it says your customer has to be the hero. You're not the hero for the buying and selling public. They're the hero. You're the guy. You're Yoda in this program. They are Luke Skywalker. For those of you not see Star Wars, you'll see that. It's pretty good. Our process in helping you, because we believe our role is to be your guide, is the following. Hire talented people. So find the hero. And then as they discover that they need our help, we help bring them on board, we train them, we coach them, we mentor them, and then we provide support services for them. So the way in which we can guide you sometimes is as simple as, listen, we know how to do a 3D video, and you don't, so we'll provide that for you. Sometimes it's, geez, we know how to get your business going more, so we're going to help you with that. And that's what I would describe as our coaching program. And our coaching program is designed specifically to create a small amount of discomfort to help you grow. So this is the quote that Cass gave. I didn't tell her it was going to be up there. Sorry, Cass. I love coaching. The accountability and encouragement she gives me is about the truth. So I'm going to stop at the word accountability and tell you what I believe the definition of accountability to be. Accountability is the act of being reliable for doing what you say you're going to complete. And accountability coaching then is having someone else hold you to those commitments. So there is a certain amount of discomfort that's placed upon you by someone saying, hey, listen, did you do what you said you were going to do? No? Why not? That doesn't create comfort for me. It would be very easy for me to not show up to that meeting and not have somebody ask me that question. And then I can remain in order and probably not personally grow. So this year, the brokerage increased its volume by 12.5%. The people in coaching, 32. That little bit of discomfort that was put upon them caused them to grow more. And that's the goal here. So despite the fact that you've opted into it, you've given someone the license to create some discomfort in your life. And it's caused growth. Listen, I encourage everyone to get into coaching. Whether it's with us or someone else, plenty of good coaching programs out there. I think we have the best, and we've added a bunch of new coaches to it this year because it's such an important part of what we do. But what I know it does do is create that little bit of discomfort for you that's going to help you grow. And then, of course, the last thing that Bill said in the epically long video that I showed was you can initiate your own discomfort. I know that I'm creating the discomfort that exists for all of you all within the brokerage. When you don't know how to get a hold of the person who's going to help you handle the question for your deal, I know that I've created that discomfort. And so I apologize. And it's out of the idea that we all need to grow, and we need to be a place where, to use the analogy from the video, we're creating a bigger fishbowl so that the goldfish within it can continue to grow bigger as well. So I'm pushing our staff to grow, and it's creating growth challenges for you. I get that, so I apologize. But there's a little bit of it as well where I would say we're also trying to model the way, where I'm asking us to grow, and I'm hoping that you'll see that and say, okay, well, how am I going to grow? At the peak of their despair, I hope you never quite get to that. A guide steps into their lives and gives them a plan. This is what I think our job is, to obsess about your career, to help you develop, and call you to action. So again, we're putting these kinds of people in place to help call you into action to execute on that plan. Your plan, and that action helps you avoid failure. And that's what I'm wishing all of you. A huge amount of success, a small amount of discomfort that leads to the personal growth. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I'll jump back on the mic because I don't have that big booming voice that Matthew has. So I'll be a little transparent as well, and the entirety of the rest of this presentation is not a bunch of words, but kind of a show and tell to show you the actions that we've taken over the last year and what we plan on doing going forward to help you believe something that I believe, which is that an outsider looking in would hear Matt talk about growth years past, talk about getting to 5,000 agents in 10 years. And if you weren't part of our organization, you might think that the end game was so that him and Ralph and Ian could be doing Scrooge McDuck backstrokes in a pool full of money. But I don't believe that that's the case. Because what I've seen is that time and time again, that's been reinvested back into a business, back into all of your businesses, and be able to provide services and fantastic resources and people, and the rest of the presentation is about showing you a little bit of that. In my time with Matt, I've never come to him once with an idea that I thought was going to be valuable for our people, and he said no. It's always a yes, even when it's not such a great idea. And I hope that for the rest of this presentation, you're left believing the same thing I think, that as we grow, that we're stronger together, and that there's value there. So let's take a look at how the last year's went. And let's start with our sales volume in HRM, and I was blown away to look and see that this past year we did over $1 billion into sales volume. I'll put it in a little perspective for you guys. That's not the best sales volume result that anybody's had this year in HRM. That's the best result that anybody's ever had in HRM as far as companies go. And that really looks like 3,700 ends, 3,700 families that put their trust in all of you folks to go make a pretty substantial change in their lives. Market share wise, we have 27% market share, which is double our nearest competitor, which lets us not go paste billboards all go around town and say we're number one, but it lets us be the market leader and set the standard and be out in our industry. That's 1 in every 4 transactions that happens in the city has one of you fine folks represented there. So a big round of applause for that. Great job, guys. There's about 1,000 agents, active agents right now serving in amongst the HRM area. And for agent count, there's about 240, that's not including licensed assistants and the rest that work out of our office there. So when Matt came and started talking to me about the role of Director of Broker Services, the first thing I thought was, geez, I already have a pretty big task ahead of me to support all those folks. How's that going to get in the way of that? Is that going to be well, that's not true. The first thing I thought was, wait a minute, more responsibility and a longer job title. Is this one of those top-down things where they just offer you something instead of a different salary? But this number 2 was, is this going to affect my folks and get in the way of delivering a great experience for them? And the more we started working through it, I realized that that's not the case. So this is something I think I've just a few minutes to show you as we started planning out and what my typical day looks like. And for the brokers in the other area, this will resonate. So on a typical Wednesday throughout the year, my day is very structured. I'm a high I personality type, so I have it all on the calendar and locked down and ready to go. And it would start at 8 a.m. with a conference call where we would get on the phone with about 15 other people all across the Atlantic region and talk about coaching and recruiting, the things that drive our organization, but also pop in all kinds of other stuff to that call. And then from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I do agent development training, usually with our brand new folks. 5 up to 15 people in the room doing that, which is great. I go to Enfield once a month and do an Enfield monthly meeting out there, which I guess you could qualify as a leadership type thing. 2 coaching appointments in the afternoon, a pre-licensing study session, which I guess would be a recruiting activity like Matt talked about, and then also later on maybe like a new agent interview that I'll pop in there. So a pretty full schedule, and that popped in amongst all that will be responding back to questions about a deal issue someone's having. Pretty full day. So when we started talking about this new role, along with the change for me, came a change for everyone else. And Matt and I started breaking it down, just what a typical day would look like for me, and making sure, am I going to be able to be available for our folks when they need us? Because the survey results we got back, we seek out that uncomfortable feedback from y'all, was that you expect someone to be available when you have an issue with one of your deals. You don't want to wait 6 to 10 days for an email back. The first thing we looked at was that the training stuff, we're going to hire a full-time trainer and have someone in charge of delivering training across the organization. So Matt said, pal, you're going to take that off your plate, okay? Great. Part of that is also they're going to take on all of the coaching, and probably what you're trying to service all those agents, it's unrealistic because you're going to miss or be late for half those coaching appointments anyways. So we took that off there. The recruiting aspect of it, having someone as a director of recruiting and in charge of that means that they're focused on that and doing those study sessions where we have people come in as a pre-licensing study session. It's a great way to build relationships with them. That's going to come off there as well. So now all of a sudden, I'm looking at a schedule, and remember, for a high I personality type, scary to see a calendar that empty. So it started to make a lot of sense to say, yeah, you know what, I could take on this role and make a couple changes to the type of meetings we're having in the morning, and now all of a sudden refocus that time and do less doing and have a better focus on, we broke down in a couple of different ways.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to embrace my discomfort right now and grow a little bit. I am very happy to have this new position as Director of Agent Development. What that essentially means is I will be overseeing our coaches, our mentors, and I'm going to stop shaking in a second. Too much coffee. I know all you people. Why am I shaking? Oh my God. Too much coffee. Who are the other people? Coaches, mentors. Oh, and training. Sorry. So it's up there. Thanks, Sheree. So those are my 3 primary functions to look after, and I'll be looking after people in Nova Scotia and Brunswick. So it's a lot of territory to cover, which is one of the reasons I had to hire new coaches, which is also very exciting. We're also, very fortunate that we have such good people coaching currently. So Katrina has been doing an amazing job coaching you people. And we recognize the need. Thank you. One more. We've recognized the need to hire dedicated coaches that are there for you and not running out for other appointments and missing appointments and postponing. In 2018, we had 74 agents in coaching in HRM, and that led to 3,000 coaching appointments held. That's a lot of time. That time he put in, though, they increased the business 30% on average, and one of our agents actually increased her business by 373%. That's huge. Can congratulations. We have also hired Cher Digdon, and she is going to be starting coaching with us at the end of January. And I know that the Ask Anthony team has always benefited from Cher's guidance, so we're very excited to have her. And in the Valley, we have Morgan Bezanson, and she's currently coaching, I think, 12 people and doing a great job there as well. Thank you. So what we want to provide for our coached agents, we want to understand your why to help you grow the business that you want to grow. We want to help you grow your database, which is where we all know your business comes from. We want to establish your GCI goals, make sure you're earning the money you want to earn, create a business plan for you, construct business and organize systems to understand the gaps that we need to fill for you, and we need to develop lead generation strategies for you and grow your network. In training, in 2018 we offered agent development training for 38 brand new agents, and that took a lot of time, as Mark mentioned earlier, 780 hours of our time in new agent training. We ran 2 peak producers programs, 2 business mastery events, and 10 Atlantic Advantage sessions. And those were not just for new people, for experienced people too. And one of the things we're going to concentrate on this year is getting more training for our experienced agents. So Victoria Terrio came in and did some Teams training. I know a lot of people enjoyed that. We had Carlos Raciapo came in and talked about defending your commission, and Nevin Hollick came in to talk about lead generation, and Tim Somerville came to talk about his business. He does a bazillion deals a year, so he came in and talked about his business strategies as well. We're going to continue to look for people to bring in that will help you in your business as a growing, to help you grow your business. This year, it's a little bit different. We actually have 2 rookies of the year this year, mostly because Royal LePage nationally has come out with different criteria to qualify Rookie of the Year, but we obviously had still been doing it our way. So we're going to do it our way and Royal LePage Canada's way. So this year, we're very lucky to have 2 rookies. And our first Rookie of the Year, based upon new agent production, and our first full-time year is Amy Seymour. Amy is great. I will, oh. And our second Rookie of the Year is based upon first 12 months in the business, sorry, yes. And our second Rookie of the Year is Corey Huskelson. Congratulations, Corey. Thanks, everyone. I obviously did not overcome my discomfort.
Absolutely positive that as new people join our business, whether experienced or brand new, we're going to be able to deliver amazing training for whatever level of business that they're at. And I have no doubt either that there'll be lots of new people joining us, because a new director of recruiting, Sarah Taylor, is going to come up and talk to you a little bit about our growth plans coming into this year. I know she's going to kill it at that job. Sarah?
No, I'm not going to have a Tracy moment, so I really just hold on to that. Because I feel like I
would be very similar. So I'm going to keep it really, really brief. That's a scary number out there for a lot of you. Last year we recruited about 80 people organization-wide, and this year we're looking to double it. And you know, we have a great team of people who are in our full-fledged recruiting department, and we're heading towards 160 new and experienced recruits organization-wide without acquisitions or mergers. So with that, that means you can all anticipate an amazing amount of services being reintroduced into the organization to better your business and better your lives. So if you see me in the halls, you're probably going to experience me asking you for some help, whether that is new agent or experienced agent referrals, and super grateful for all the business that you guys have referred our way in terms of new and experienced recruits. So we're tracking towards that number. It's a super exciting time. Charles Whitman is our regional recruiter located at New Brunswick, but he's going to be doing the road show similar to what I am going to be between the two provinces, and Stan is going to be our recruiting coordinator. So really appreciative. Those two guys are not here today, but you'll be seeing lots of us around Halifax for sure. Okay, perfect. Hi. So basically, in my old role, I was responsible for kind of a whole bunch of different things. So I wasn't really able to focus on one thing and really become an expert at it. So I'm excited that in my new role, my main focus will be primarily on the operations side of the business, which is kind of broken out into these 5 categories. So I'll work super closely with the heads of our various departments, basically to ensure a seamless delivery of all our services that we're delivering both to you and your clients. So through my presentation, I'm going to get all our department heads to come up and talk to you about what we're super excited to be launching in 2019. But first, we'll kind of do a review of the services that we currently have and kind of the numbers that we were able to come up with this year. So first off, Hillary is our marketing and design manager. We hired Hillary about midway through last year to step into this role and help guide our corporate message through Royal LePage Atlantic. So Hillary develops our marketing plans and strategies and channels these across all of our media channels. She also helps manage those people that work in and amongst our design team. Some of the major projects that she worked on this year were things such as our company website, smart leads, launching digital listing ads, and helping us really grow our social media platforms. So Hillary's done an incredible job in such a short amount of time, and we are super excited to see how she's going to continue to grow her marketing and design department. So we also have 3 members of her team that she would not be able to do this without. So we have Cynthia and Monica, who are both our designers, and we have a new position, which is our design coordinator, and her name is Laura. I just want to give a huge round of applause to all members of our marketing and design team for all the hard work that they did in 2018. And now I'll introduce Hillary, who's going to talk to you about what's coming up in 2019.
So I guess to start off, perfect. So to go a little bit into the importance of why we had to hire a design coordinator for the department, it goes back to what many previous people standing up here before said, and that is really to try and do the best that we can to be available to our customers, which is the agents. So you guys that go out there and work your butts off to try and help us be successful as well, and we definitely very appreciate that a lot. So the only way that I can see that I would be able to be there for you guys at my department would be to be able to have someone there to answer any questions and anything that you guys have an issue with. So that person we have just recently hired as the design coordinator position within the department. This person is there, just as I said, for you guys to be available to you, answering questions and helping you to move some of these design projects across the goal line. So something that's going to be coming out in 2019 as well. Been working very hard on updating our new website. So what you see in front of you here, for the most better part of the room, this is probably the first time that you would have seen this new design. However, this is something that we'll be launching as long as everything goes well within January. So what you see here is a completely redesigned website for us. So I know a lot of you will probably have this music to your ears. I know it was for me. Ultimately, the big goal that we have for the new website is a better user experience. So what that breaks down to is a lot of these new features that we have available to your clients.
So we have some super exciting things coming up in 2019 from the marketing and design department. So we're just going to move along here to our next department, which is agent services. So back in June, Melanie was promoted into what was formerly called our share assistant role. So she worked really hard in revamping the 4 service offerings that we had at that time. So what she kind of did is when she took over that position was she had a lot of conversations with the agents that were currently using her program and agents that weren't to find out what the needs were, what people in the office really needed help with. Her department is really that transition period of agents who aren't quite ready to hire their own assistant full-time, not ready to make that commitment, but still need a lot of help with their business. So her focus is kind of on taking those $10 an hour activities off your plate so you can focus on the $200 activities and getting in front of your clients. So those could be anything from getting help with your social media, getting help with your deal paperwork, expense tracking, helping you with your webpage, building content to post, and the list can go on. So right now she has 4 different service offerings. In HRM, she works with over 36 agents and manages over 60 listings. And just in December, she rolled out in our New Brunswick offices as well. I will get Mel to come up and give you a breakdown on what she's launching in 2019.
Good morning, everyone. As Katie was saying, Share Assistant Services really did start taking off in 2018. And we're really excited to go into the new year with a little bit of new rebranding as Agent Services. And we're going to be offering you the following programs starting at some point in 2019. So the first one is the Client Party Invite Campaign and the e-bike campaign. So this was officially launched in time for the holiday party in 2018. So we launched it in December, and that's the listing photo service. So this is sort of a direct response to some of the feedback that we got directly from our agents. So in this service, we will, once photography has finished editing the photos, we will go into Dropbox, we'll download those photos for you on your behalf. We will go through and properly sort them and choose those 31 photos that are going to be put onto MLS. And we'll go through and we'll properly name them so they'll be properly labeled according to the different rooms of the house. So we will also submit those photos to the proper departments who need them. So we will send them to the listings department to be put onto Paragon, and then we'll also be sending it to the marketing and design department so they can use it for marketing materials such as feature packages.
Next up, we have client services, which is Bassin. So client services, you saw probably the announcement go out a few weeks ago, but it's a new and unique department to provide services that directly interact with your clients. So this can be things such as photography, cleaning, staging, handyman services, and the list can go on. Bassin has been managing our wildly successful photography department and is incredibly energetic, passionate, and innovative. He's now bringing leadership to a new group of people over the next few years as he introduces these new services in order to provide these to your clients. The photography team in particular has become such a valuable part of our business. Bassin continues to innovate and offer the latest service offerings in the market, and he's always staying ahead of our competition. When people will come to me and say that they can tell it's a Royal LePage Atlantic photo before even seeing our picture come up is just a testament to the quality and the passion that Bassem really puts into his department and how hard he and his team really work to deliver that to you guys. I know that Bassem is going to be incredible in his new role, and he's going to come up here now to tell you about it.
Good morning, everyone. Of course, most of you here know me as the photographer, and a few years ago when I started this business, some people used to know me with the photographer with the dog, because I used to get my very scary dog in the car at the time. I have no idea why I used to do this, but it was very well known to the extent I used to go have dinner with my wife in some restaurants, and then I find people, oh, we know you, you take pictures of our house, you're the photographer with the dog. And I'm like, guy, I have a guy, I have a name. This is not what how I want to be normal. But through the time, it's gone. I stopped taking him because he started eating people. Which is true if you know him. So he stays at home. And now I'm just the photographer. And I am the photographer that was always with you, everywhere, on your listings, meeting your clients, going with you to houses, doing lots of things besides photography, and those few years actually made me gain a lot of experience with how you work outside. And as Matt mentioned in his presentation, you are the heroes. We are here to support you. And I gathered a lot of information and a lot of experience just seeing you guys dealing out there with your clients. I basically am the only person in RLPA who was outside on the site with you dealing with your clients, which was unique, and it was a build-up and maybe preparation for what is going to happen next. But before we go into a very new exciting things about client service this year, let's introduce the photography department. The photography department that without this team I wasn't going to be here today. And the first new change that will happen to the photography department is that I transferred the management of the photography department to Rera, and of course who I was kidding, she was running the show anyways. So, I'm here with the photography department, and I think she done a very good job, and she's managing a very amazing group of people here. That we will start from Scott, who's happy to be taking pictures here and always in events taking pictures, editing our photos, making our houses look good, and actually making everyone look good. Lucas, when I met Lucas the first time, he was 17 years old, and he was shadowing me for the weekend, as Paula asked me, and I said to myself, oh, this guy is going to work with me. And he started working with me when he was 17, and I used to go smoke shop, buy my cigar, and then they kick him out. And I was like, what the hell is happening? He's like an employee with me, and then, yes, he's 17. But I never treated him as 17 years old because he is always much better than that. He will be the lead videographer and drone operator in our next 2019. Whomever comes next, we work with him with his experience. And Adam, Adam joined us at the beginning of the year. He comes from a family of photographers. His dad is an amazing photographer. All his family is photographers except for him. And when he joined us, he was like a little bit worried that he will not be able to catch up with the team quickly and stuff like that. And impressively, he is one of the best 360 photographers in the whole province, actually, if not in Canada right now. We geared him, equipped him, and most of the time, his photos are better than mine. I equipped him with better cameras so we can do the new detail shots and stuff like that you like. Adam will be the lead photographer. Whoever comes next with us will be under his management or control, so actually we guarantee the best quality of pictures. Next group of people are our behind the scene people. Habiba here, our photo editor, she's our centralized photo editor, edits for Moncton and Greenwood and the Valley. Freedom is the one who edits all your videos. Behind the scene, I shoot the videos, Lucas shoot the videos, and Frieden is the one who edits the videos. Alexa is our photographer in Greenwood. She is an amazing person, videos and photography and everything, and probably some people here knows her because she's taking over this year the role of the Valley and beyond. Actually, every listing on the map outside of Sackville towards Yarmouth, she is working on it, and she's proven actually one of the best on our team. So, 2018 photography numbers. And what's happening? The number of listing photo shoots we did on houses in 2018 was 2,000 houses. Exactly, I was debating this number. The actual figure was 1996 houses, which is, if you do the calculation, we can't split this on the working days of the week because there are some days we don't have listings. January, it's a dead season, so is December. So if you do the numbers and the math, you will find that some days we're working with 30 houses. 5 or 4 photographers and 4 editors working on 30 houses for you. We always deliver the next day. It never happened a single time that we did not deliver the photos. I know, and I was telling Matt actually this, I go and attend your listing presentation and you tell your clients that we will list the house next day in photography. I never failed you down. We always tried not to, and this team of people helped a lot. Videos, we had 900 videos shot this year and edited and submitted to you. Lifestyle videos, listing videos, promo videos, agent videos, any kind of videos, even event videos. iGuide and Matterport, which this is the department we talked about recently, which is the 3D and the virtual tools floor planning. We have over 300 iGuides and Matterports, and this thing takes time in the house. 600 and above drone flights, which is doing a number because we don't fly in winter, we don't fly in rain. That's crazy. Actually, we do fly in winter and rain, but no one from Transport Canada is here. Okay. Don't do this. Delete this from the video, please. Okay. Number of headshots, 100 and above, and I'm not saying the repeat. We got 100 headshots for you guys. You come to our office, we get headshots, we try to make you as beautiful as you look. On real life, sometimes we fail because you're gorgeous, all of you, but and handsome. And then, this is the good number actually. The number of agents that use photography services in HRM is 98%. And actually this number is not really accurate because it's usually 99. But I don't count someone who uses it once or twice. I count someone who's continuously using the department, which is 98%, which shows you that there is no competition, and either we're efficient or we're providing high quality or better prices. Whatever kind of service we're doing works very well. How can we do this? Okay. So here's the photography in 2018. This map actually based on 3 months only, and it's shocking that you see that we actually been everywhere. And in 2018, we went as maybe to Falmouth and Green, the new minus, and we went up to the head of Jador, and we went lots of areas. We have Moncton as well. But this tells you that our team can go everywhere. I remember some people here, Corey here can attest to that, 3 hours drive for here for a house, and we didn't say no. We used to go 3 hours, take pictures of the house and come back. And that's because we support you guys. We will continue to do this next year and actually on a larger scale and better than this year. So what's new in 2019? The first thing is that the expansion of the photography department. We are expanding the photography department as much as RLPA is expanding. So if you notice here, we're going to St. John and Moncton. We already have Moncton working, but St. John here, actually our photographer is the first day of the job. So we're hiring in St. John, that's another expansion, and the whole area of New Brunswick, the eastern part of New Brunswick is covered by our photography services. We will go to Cape Breton. We went last year for Cape Breton for 2 or 3 times. I remember it was a nice drive, actually. I took my wife and kids with me and considered it a nice day. But we went to Cape Breton and we went to Yarmouth. And this year we have agents, I believe, hired in Yarmouth. Thanks to Sarah, she's making us busy all the time. She hired a new agent in Yarmouth, so we will expand to Yarmouth. And this is actually the brief of what we're gonna do in 2019. Last year, we were as like 2 days, you call us for photography in the season. I'm not talking about now. You talk about now, I'll send you the whole team to your listing. Talking about, and we'll be happy actually. I'm talking about in the season, in the days where everyone is very busy. We were 2 to 3 days until we get you the photographer. This year, we're hiring 2 part-time photographers that worked with you before and we attested that they're good, names that you know, and another full-time photographer. We will have 4 photographers fully working, fully time, 5 to 7 houses a day, every day, including the weekends. So we can go as one day or the next day. You call, you need a photographer, we can offer you one next day. And this is not easy, by the way. This requires a lot of work, a lot of coordination, lots of gear, and lots of edits and everything behind the scenes. The second thing, we have the Matterport. We introduced the Matterport this year, which all of you like so much. It has different view than the iGuide. We have everything now. There is no competition. The Matterport provides floor plans, the iGuide provides floor plans. The Matterport has the virtual reality. The kids or your clients, if they have the goggles, they can go through the house. And actually, I've got some comments from clients that they use the Google goggles and they walk through the house through the Matterport. We are hiring this month a person that will be responsible for this department completely, that will take care of it, upgrade it, keep upgrading it. Anything that comes in the 3D or this virtual reality world, he would be responsible for, and as the strategy for the page, the right person in the right place, and everyone is responsible for exactly one job, because Jack of all trades is a master of none. This is new this year. Second, as we mentioned in the meeting, we're trying to obtain the highest licensing for the drones so we can operate everywhere. Mountain St. John, beside the airport a little bit. We're working on this, and I ask you for your patience until they maintain our drones and give us the proper licensing. We will create a headshot studio, some kind of lights on the ceiling and a very fixed and good headlights, head studio. So when we get the headshots, it's a better quality and quicker and faster. It will be a big improvement and help for our department as to provide the headshots. We will update all the existing cameras with newer versions, and this is a big budget. And I know if Ian was here, he would have like probably throw something on my face. But Jennifer, please don't tell Ian this information. We will update all existing cameras with newer versions, top of the line, to guarantee best quality. So again, now the most important part. What is the client services? What is this? If this is part of the part, what is the client services? Pre-photography services and photography services, and building the relationship with your client. I was thinking, the photography department is so successful, but I went with you to your homes, I met your clients with you. What do you need when you sign a listing? You will need some home renovations, a handyman, a painter, some of those services of the house. You know that it won't show nicely without it. You need to clean the house, because as many times as you tell your clients clean the house, they never do. They don't understand what cleaning means. And they can tell you the house is clean. We've been working for 6 hours in the house. Actually, we can't take off our shoes. We know this. They don't know. Cleaning services, staging services. We all stage our houses. So when we reach the photography actually is the last step before you put your listing live. So those services are as important as the photography. The photography service, of course, we all know what we can offer. What about during the relation with your client? You need sometimes landscaping and snow removal. Like I was going to shoot a house for one of the agents last week that was been vacant. We could not access the house because the snow was too much. Sometimes you need to hire someone to remove the snow. Landscaping, home inspection when you get a deal, appraisals, home renovations, post inspection. After you get the inspection, you might need, oh my God, I need a structure, you need to fix this, my deal is not done, and you don't know who to contact. Pre-closing services, even cleaning, insurance, lawyers, mortgage, moving companies. What is this? What is the short-term plan here in this department? This is a long-term thing. The short-term plan is within the next few months, I'll be approaching almost every person that is doing those services. And I try to negotiate the deal for you guys, Royal LPA agents. The deal doesn't necessarily mean good pricing, but it might be priority in booking, might be better quality. And of course, good pricing, because that matters. So when you refer the 3 people to your clients, you just come to me, I'll give you the list, and I'll tell you that those are giving you this percentage discount, priority in booking, and highest quality guaranteed, or else I will take care of that. Oh yeah, if you know me here, very well known as the monthly boss. Within the next year, I'll be looking to getting most of the photography services or pre-photography service as part of in-house. Why don't you do another department for staging? Another department for cleaning services? They're in-house people. You use them the same way you use the photography service. And actually, long-term plan, very, very simple. We are going to get all those services in-house. All of them. Sounds impossible, huh? Yeah, it sounds impossible. But actually, 4 years ago, the photography department, due to technical reasons, was the impossible itself. We're being challenged, you're supported, we're here for you guys, and next few years, I'm going to make sure that this happens. Thank you so much, guys, for this.
big idea, the next great thing, the next new service that we roll out is going to be an idea that probably doesn't come from us. It's probably going to come from all of y'all. So as we reach out and try to connect one-on-one, that's a challenge I had for myself last year, to connect with every single person in our office one-on-one. As I started sending out emails to get together for lunches, people kept responding back, asking if they were in trouble or something. It's not the case. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for insight into your business. What are the pain points? What are the things you're looking for? And people have given us some pretty outlandish suggestions of what we should be doing, but you know what? That's all good stuff, and continue to let us know. One of the things we've started to add in over the years, as you can see, part of the role is an event coordinator. This has become a big hit for us. Although I'm the broker of record and technically responsible for overseeing all of those deals and making sure they're all coming together, I am fortunate to have some pretty phenomenal people to rely on. Next up, we have Erin Gillis is going to come up and talk to you about the great work she's done, really stepping into to this department and helping serve all you for deal support. Please give her a warm welcome.
Going with quite an amazing team that work day in and day out to help you with kind of all of your needs between finance, accounting, and your deal support. We call it deal support rather than compliance or some other kind of nasty word that doesn't really speak to the work that the team is doing there behind the scenes to help you with kind of all of your deal related needs. So of course we have Jennifer Wang, accounting manager, that helps you with all of your, supports your insurance benefit coverage and your day-to-day accounting kind of questions and needs. And of course we have Pat Hillier that looks after all accounts payable and agent services, has the answer to almost every question that I ever pose to her, and in the quickest amount of time that's humanly possible. So if you can give a quick round of applause for her. The next folks you might recognize, from working with them over the last number of years, or more recently in the last couple of months. So, of course, Carol Giles, one of our long-term deal coordinator administrators in the Halifax office. Heather Miller, that has that dual function of the front desk office person in Enfield, but also taking care of all of the Dartmouth folks. And then Mary Gwen Stackhouse, familiar face to some of you, but in a different role in the last couple of months, helping out the admin team with doing your deal processing and things like that. So huge round of applause for them. So every couple of days, we're graced with Paulette's presence in the office. So of course she brings long-standing real estate knowledge and helping you and helping the rest of the team process all of your deals. Two of the newer people that you may recognize now, Cassandra Sauvé is new to our team. She mostly works with the Moncton and St. John folks with their deal processing, but you may see her on the front desk every kind of lunch hour. Always a helpful face and someone to help you with whatever you may need as well. And Rebecca Grand, Diane, what am I trying to say here? After a number of years that we had Diane in the business, big shoes to fill, so Rebecca's new to the team in the last couple of months, helping you with getting some money in the bank. So a big round of applause for her. And then we have two folks in our deal review, not compliance department. They're reviewing your deals and providing you helpful suggestions. But really, these two ladies, Danielle mostly works on the new Nova Scotia stuff, so you may know her very well. Alexa's newer to the team, mostly does some New Brunswick stuff, but is always there to help you as well. They're working very hard to help you along your way. And then, of course, we have Lisa. Everyone knows Lisa and loves Lisa. And getting together all that listing paperwork that you need in your photos and all that. So a huge team there that's there to help you. One exciting thing that we're really looking forward to this coming year is a new software platform.
The winner of the Team Player Award is Ian Angus. course, we've got some great partners that you guys all rely on in our office in Premier Mortgage Center, and they are here as Don McVickers. Where are you at, Don? Going to come up and say a few words. Let's give them a round of applause. All the new services, things we're able to roll out. I really genuinely believe that we're stronger together, and nowhere is that more evident than when we put our minds and hearts together for a good cause. And a great partner of ours is Alice House, and this year we've done some phenomenal work to raise money for Alice House locally here. A new thing for us was Walk a Mile. Walk a Mile really was an initiative, I'll say, of Katrina's that started pushing for that last year, and it was a great addition because it was a way to raise some awareness. But then this year we actually started to grow and almost like on its own with the support of a lot of helping hands into a big event for us. We had, look at this show there, that's a lot of red high heel pumps walking around the Amera Oval. So raise awareness we did, and also raised some great money, $7,500 for Alice House, which is fantastic. Our charity bake sale continues to be a fun, engaging, exciting day for us. You guys really showed up with lots of baked goods and opened up your hearts and wallets and spent $20,000 there, and which was phenomenal. Every year we continue to grow our commission donations, and this is the most important way that we raise charity for our folks because it's something that we can rely on and we know it's going to come. So we take a minute to recognize all of y'all that take some commissions from each one of your deals and sends them over to Alice House. So our commission donations top 10 list this year looks like Kelly Times here to the number 10. Don Randy at number 9. And Nicole Crane at number 8. Jerry Barrington at number 7. Ann Butler at number 6. Debbie Price at number 5. Melissa Berry at number 4. Rosie Porter at number 3. Stacy Falkland at number 2. And our number 1 commission donation supporter this year, Ian Angus. Our total this year for commission donations was $30,000. It's a very easy process. There's a form you can fill out, there's a slide online. We'll follow up today's presentation and send a copy of that all to everyone here. We also had about almost $1,000 from our staff. So these are people that you heard from today that are all working in the back office there that take money out of each one of their paychecks to give to that. So. So this is the amount that we raised in total this year for Alice House in 2018. So $63,000, which is fantastic. Up to say a few words on behalf of Alice House, please welcome their Executive Director, Heather Byrne.
Thank you, everybody. This is the 4th year that I've been at this event. I was saying to Mark when I came in, I love this event outside of the Alice House piece, but the enthusiasm and the growth and the change in the organization, I take so much of it with me back to our organization from a management perspective, and a growth, and a teamwork, and a change-making perspective. So please know that you contribute to Alice House in many ways, including through this event for me. One of the things I wanted to touch on was in your core values, I would like to throw in a little addendum to say the taking care of your community is another core value that RLPA demonstrates year after year after year by committing your time and energy and efforts and commission donations and all the events that you throw to continue to pull up big numbers like $63,000 in a year. It has a tremendous impact on us and our ability to do our work and provide those services in the community that we all want to see happen. And we know that annually we can count on that level of revenue from Royal LePage Atlantic because it just consistently, the commitment and the work and the partnership with us just maintains an inspirational level year after year after year. And all I ever try to do when I come is make sure and hope that all of you are leaving with an understanding of outside of your powerful work in housing here and selling homes and helping people buy homes, that you're also helping vulnerable families get into homes as well. So thank you very much. And if there's anything that we can do, as always, to continue to support your fundraising efforts, give you any information you have about Alice House, to encourage the deep partnership and connection with us, please reach out anytime. Thank you. Congratulations to the top 10 as well. We'll be reaching out to all of you individually as well. So thank you again so much.
Over the years, as we've been participating with Alice House and raising money to support people that are affected by domestic violence, it's been a real eye-opening, lesson-learning thing for myself because originally I would have said that it's a charity that I wasn't really that involved with. I'd never had anybody in my life that has experienced domestic violence, and it wasn't something that was around me. Maybe it's being in the role, the broker role. Maybe it's also the work we've done. But what I realized was that I couldn't be any more wrong. Because domestic violence affects us all. And when you look on TV as a young man, you see those domestic violence situations where there's a hero that steps in and, leave her alone. They're the badass. They step in and save the day. And if you talk to any of our first responders or people, you can hear story after story about how terribly wrong it usually goes. These last couple of years, I've had I don't know if it's an opportunity or what, to see a little more hands-on about the work that Heather does, and to know that the money we raised last year made it possible to have a house that was open, to be aware that that house was available for someone to go to when they were in a pretty challenging time, to see and know that they were surrounded by the right people, that gave them the right advice, and that's why they're here with us today, is a pretty powerful thing. And this year I looked and said, you know what? That's a badass right there. Not the person that steps in and gets the ego thing to save the day. It's all of you guys and the work that you do. And I hope that you all continue on with it. I know that you will. One of the things that we've seen this year is that we've increased every year the amount of money we're able to support for them. And in 2019, we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to revive our charity committee. When we were doing the walk a mile, we kind of put the bat signal out there and started to get some more agent volunteers. And a lot of the best ideas we had to make that event what it was didn't come from someone on management team. It came from all of y'all. So you'll see an invite go out, a schedule go out. So if you're committed to this, and it's not about what money you give, it can also be about the time and energy you give. And you guys are all influencers in your community and in your teams. So reach out, get involved with that charity committee. Another great award that we have is one where we recognize someone in our office for community involvement, and this is another award that everyone here gets to vote on. And the winner this year for the Community Involvement Award is Paulo Angel. Paula whispered on the way up, someone else should get this next year. Paula throws herself into so many different great things in her community, and so many great people in our office do the same thing. And when I look at the total sum of our efforts all together, it's a pretty inspiring thing that you guys all choose to partner with us. And I think Heather was right about that being one of our core values here, because I certainly see that in everyone here. So in closing remarks, I hope you guys appreciated all the work that went into everyone. I think did a great job getting up here and presenting all the different parts of the business and introducing what they were working on in 2018. I hope that you guys go into 2019 with the same energy, and when you have that moment, when you're getting busy and you're feeling that discomfort, it is great advice. You should embrace that moment of being overwhelmed and know that, hey, you know what, this is a positive thing. I'm about to level up, my business is about to get better, my life is about to get better, and recognize that for what it is. I want to thank you guys all for your time today and wish you all the best in 2019.